Everyone, this is the Hingham Historic District Commission meeting. It is Thursday, December 13th, 2018. Thank you all for coming. First order of business is to just ask if anyone has got any conflicts with the two applications that we have this evening. Nope. Are they good? Okay. Second piece of business is to determine voting members for both of these applications. And just going back to October 25th, I was looking to see who was the voting members for 279 North last time, and it was Justin, Virginia, Ronnie, Mike, and myself. Okay, so we're all here tonight, so we can just do a continuation of that, if that's okay with you. All right. And then on the other application for 1007 Main Street, we did talk about that last time when Peter was in. So voting members will be Ronnie, Mike, myself, Virginia, and Tomas, were you out last time?
Not last time, but I was not at the site visit, and I was not at the very first meeting.
Okay. Same for you? Okay.
I was at the last meeting, but not the site visit.
Okay.
Or
Site visit doesn't matter.
but there was an initial meeting. I was not.
Okay.
I was reading in the minutes.
Okay. All right, so you haven't seen the video?
Or to,
No.
for
And,
1007.
No.
okay. Justin, you've been here, correct, for all the 1007, and you were at the site visit, correct?
Yes,
Okay. Can you be the fifth voting member on
Yes.
that one, too? Okay. So that's pretty straightforward. Same voting members for both applications. All right, good. All right. With that, Monica's here to lead us off with continuation on 279 North Street. Thanks for coming in.
Hi, Monica.
So the last time I was here, I was asked to do a cut-through for the back gable thing. So my drafter wrote a note about that because it's a flat facade. I think you guys probably see the note. And to get a material list together for what was going to be on the new addition. So I kind of wrote up the material list, and we also, I had the JB Sash window person come out, measure the front windows, measure the glass size of the 12/12s. In looking at that, I thought that the first thing that I passed into you with 6 silver blanks, that those windows look too different than the original house, and I thought it would be better if I tried to match the glass size from the original windows to the new windows in the back. So they went, when we measured them out, the 8/1s were closest to the 12/12 glass size in the original house. So I had those switched on the drawing, and I think that it makes an improvement. And, you know, I think you guys might agree. Up in the dormers, I switched to 6, again, to match the glass size. So I provided a cut sheet of all the windows that you guys have, that have all the dimensions of all of these windows. And for material selection, we wanted to use Marvin windows, and on all the on the side of the main house, we would do any window that was changed, which includes the kitchen window on the left elevation. On the right elevation, it includes on the main house, the window closest to the gabled section. That window right now is a small square modern window that's in a stairwell that's going to be removed. And the window in the tall gable on the right elevation has a blank window on the side, on the top. It's just kind of a replacement window with no light pattern, and on the front elevation, there's a window similar in that room. So we switched all of those windows to 12 over 12s. We decided to keep the 12 over 12 on the right elevation on the first floor because there's really nothing wrong with it, and it matches all the other windows. All the windows that I just spoke of, the new windows on the main house would all be wood. And any window that was 49 inches, which is a lot of them, is a 12 over 12, with the exception of the kitchen. So the kitchen, because the triple window is over the sink, it's shorter, so to get the pane size similar, it ends up being a 12. Yeah, that's the kitchen. They end up being just a slightly different window, which on the existing elevation, it's a window that was added on since the beginning of the house anyway. So I don't think that that's a problem. The other windows on the left elevation, as you know from the site visit, the arched window on the top is existing. The big window over the kitchen windows is existing. The homeowners like it, so we weren't going to change it. On the rear elevation, now I have a question for you guys. On the proposed left elevation, in the area that goes back on the addition, I have the 8 over blanks. I would like to do those in Marvin composite, but I understand there's the can we see it from the Burton Road aspect. So I'm up for whatever you guys think the right thing to do is for this elevation on the proposed left back of the new house. On the right elevation in the back, you can't see it from the street. That we determined that elevation isn't visible from the street, so I would propose to do the Marvin composite for those. In the back, I would propose to do the Marvin composite in the back. The trim in the back, I propose to have it be AZAC. The pergola, I propose to have it be AZAC. Can't be seen from the street. I would like to hear what you guys have to say about the column that's on the back porch in the rear of the house. I don't know if you feel that that's visible from the street or not. If you say that it's the back of the house, I would propose it to be AZAC with composite decking on that porch. If not, I would be willing to say whatever materials you think would be best for that. There's a porch light that would be at the back door, which is halfway back in the house inside the porch, that I have a cut sheet there. It's a Restoration Hardware barn light in a zinc. And on the window schedule, you'll see that there's a 15-light door that's drawn as the door to entrance to the mudroom off of that porch. And I made an X on that. We're not going to use that. There's an old door in the rear of the home with bullet glass above it. We propose to use that as the entrance from the porch into the mudroom.
Bullseye glass?
Bullseye glass.
Monica, I just have a question. What is different from, you submitted plans today, and then you also submitted plans earlier.
The window
for me to send
pattern.
out. Okay.
The window pattern
So
is different.
that's the only thing that's
Yep,
different.
we just, in looking at that with a critical eye, I just thought that it looked too dissimilar. It looked maybe slightly modern compared to the front of the house. And by changing the window pattern to match the glass in the front, even though the bottom is 1, I felt like it was more in keeping with the property, and had that redrawn and redone by the window person, and the homeowner agrees. I also forgot to say that the whole rear of the addition siding is proposed to be the red cedar claps. And I know that this is my 3D drawing, which is not, totally accurate, but I still brought it because I think it really shows the difference between the siding and the clap.
Monica, you said clapboard or is it shingle?
I'm sorry, shingle.
Okay.
Shingle,
Red
sorry.
cedar
Red cedar shingle.
Weather.
Yes. Which, the door in the front, we had it stripped, and it's a similar color, the old door. Sure.
Is this the one with the glass that you want to move around back?
No, the one that has the glass in the back is in the very back of the
Oh.
rear of the house on the brick
Okay.
exposed area. It's old.
You modified a door in the front?
We just stripped it.
Oh, got it.
We just stripped the paint off of it and had it brought to natural, which is a similar color to the red cedar. It just looks like an old wood door.
So I've got a question again about the windows. For the most part, I can kind of put this together with this. But can you tell me again which window is not the same in here versus here? So this is up to date, right? This is the most recent.
That is the window, that was done by the JB Sash window rep
Right.
when we came out and we measured to the house.
Okay, so then you mentioned the light patterns are different.
No, the light patterns are the same. I gave that to the drafter and he
Okay,
put,
so these are consistent.
yes, they're
with each-
consistent, yes. It's the first drawings that I gave you that were the 6 over blanks.
All right.
Those are gone.
Those are, okay. But these match.
Those match.
Okay.
The front of the house is 6/6.
No, the front of the house has 12 over 12. That drawing is, the only reason,
These windows have been changed. Is that right? 6 over blank.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
This is 6/6.
Yeah, I only brought that for the color. That's not, that's just a 3D.
This was not accurate.
That's not accurate. I only brought it so that you can see the difference between the clapboard and the cedar shake.
Okay, but the existing windows in the original house are not being changed?
No.
Except for the windows that you had
Exactly.
highlighted here?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
And these have been changed.
Yes.
Yep.
Monica, I had a question on the post that you
Sure.
had in the rear. I just didn't catch what you were saying when you were saying it.
I was saying that it's in the rear of this, it's in the rear of the house where you come in from the porch here.
It's this single one here that you're
This one.
talking about, right?
Oh, in the back.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Not these two here.
No, these two, this one right here, you can't see from the street.
Okay.
So this could be composite in my eye. This right here is up for interpretation. You know, this post right here, you probably can't, but you wouldn't make a dissimilar post. So if this post right here is deemed to be visible from a public way, then I would propose that you guys would want me to make that wood. If this is considered the rear of the home and not considered visible from the public way, I would propose to make that composite.
What type of composite?
AZAC.
Is that column?
No, we'd build it. We would build it
Build it out of what?
out of AZAC, but an AZAC column that we built, not an AZAC column that you buy, pre-built,
Yeah, using flat stock and
trim.
trim molding.
I mean, I think you're definitely going to see the left side, and I think you're going to see most of the rear of the house from that side street. I think the only portion of this house you may not see from the public way is the right-hand side of the house. So if that's the case, would you then consider, would you want to do just a couple of spots of some composite material on the right-hand side of the house that you might not be able to see from a public way?
I definitely want to do the pergola. The pergola painted would be a nightmare as a maintenance for somebody. So I would definitely do the pergola. And I would definitely do those triple doors, too. I mean, the maintenance of, I have a wooden pergola at my house. It's a nightmare. I mean, I love it, but it's constantly molding, being power washed, being scrubbed. The vine has to be taken down. It's like a child.
When you say triple doors, you mean these doors here?
Yeah.
Composite?
They're, you can't see them from the right elevation. That tower section of gabled that comes forward covers that section of the house.
Now,
Now, I have a question. As a commission, I didn't think we had adopted a policy about composite materials. Are we now doing it on a case-by-case basis?
Yes.
I agree with Virginia. I don't think that we have done composite even on new additions. I thought it was, we would do simulated divided glass, but all wood, correct?
That's been my experience.
Right.
I guess the question I have too, kind of related to that, is if in an application, we can't see it from a public way, if it's composite, if it's wood, it's sort of out of our jurisdiction. But the instances that are in, I think on occasion, maybe a column base, something small, something that may be in direct contact or close to the ground, is really the only instances we've ever approved some type of composite material, right?
Yes.
That is correct.
So if it doesn't matter if it's in a historic district about composite materials, what matters is if you can see it.
Yes, our charge is we review everything that's visible from a public way. So somebody who puts, can put a clad window on the back of their house if they choose to.
And then there's a lot of gray area about what is visible from what public way.
Sure.
So,
Well, I think it's important to remember that if you're looking at it over the summer, yes, it probably will be covered up by bushes and greens and so on and so forth, but in the wintertime, that will disappear, and you don't know if that tree necessarily will be there in 5 years' time.
I understand that, but in this particular case, I know that you weren't at the site visit. In the rear of this home is a guest home, and behind that is a hill. So from the rear, you cannot see the rear of the house. From the public way, you're way over on the left, and it depends on where you are on that street, how much of the rear you can see. There's a garage blocking part of the house from the public way, and there is no public way from the rear of this house. On the right side of this house, you cannot see past the main house into the back. That's what the site visit was about, and that's what we had already decided. There are other historic houses that you can see the rear from the same public way that are completely different than what we're talking about now as far as materials, composite, and I understand that the commission says, well, I don't know who was there for that, but it was still approved by this commission. So there's a lot of not clear lines.
Monica, for being at the site visit, I am going to operate on the basis that I can see all of this. Having walked up that road, I can see the entire rear. That's all I'm thinking about this.
Okay.
Also, Monica, I think, I'm not sure that I don't necessarily agree with you with respect to what has been done on other properties in the rear. I think we would have to really examine that per address, because there's never been a board that has allowed composites.
I understand that, but we looked at one on the site visit, and I don't really feel like it, I don't know what difference it would make if we looked it up and it was or it wasn't.
I'm just saying, as far as the decision was concerned.
Right.
So it may not have been something that was approved by the board, but was done.
Yep, I agree, I don't know.
That doesn't necessarily mean, because a precedent has been set, even informally, that doesn't necessarily mean we then need to approve it.
Well, in that, I wouldn't call it a precedent if it hadn't been approved in the decision.
Yeah, no, I understand,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
So,
But I think, Virginia, if you can see something from a public way, the commission has not approved composite materials.
We've been consistent. I agree.
Yes.
We've been consistent.
On the, near the ground, baseboard,
exception.
we've made some exceptions, and, bases of columns, that sort of thing, we've made some exceptions.
No, I'm on that page.
Yeah, so, just so that we're all thinking about this the same way.
Ground contact, masonry contact, and water tables
Yeah.
has been
exceptions.
Now, if a homeowner wants to put composites on something that is not visible, I think they're willing to do that, they're able to do that, and I think,
So on new additions in the rear of a home, you've never had them do composite windows?
No. Not if you can see it from anywhere whatsoever, we have not approved composite windows.
Okay, so we're going to do them wood?
yeah. Yeah, I think so. mean,
Except
what's
for,
the-
except for
let's-
the rear right elevation.
I agree with you on that, Monica. I don't think you can see that from, I think that
Certainly the
walkout,
doors.
that three-panel door, I think is, I don't think that's visible. I think probably the three windows above that on the second floor, probably not visible either. I'm not.
Talking this
I'm not
door
sh-
and these three windows right
I'm
here?
looking at the right side, yeah.
These-
I don't know about the dormer. I'd have to take a real good look at that. I'm not sure on the dormer because of the height of it. But I think because those three are tucked in on the second floor, probably not. But, it's kind of like, if you're going to do the whole house in wood, like a nice Marvin wood, why wouldn't you kind of match them all up and do it, put a nice Marvin, window on that, just so it's all consistent.
Their wood windows are very durable.
Yep.
So I'm just, and the wood, those wood,
Well, I mean, I think that the
those wood
wood
doors
Marvin,
are really good, a good product.
I think that the wood Marvin windows are good, and that the fact that the mutton bar is smaller is great. But, in the past, when I've used whole house wood windows that are Brosco or Matthews, they are not good.
Correct.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of prep work in advance of installing those.
Yeah.
Whereas the Marvin all-wood windows, they come pre-cased.
But a Brosco would also usually be used just as a true divided light, right?
Yeah,
Not as a
exactly.
simulated,
Yep.
right? So we do allow it to be simulated divided in the new addition, just has to be wood.
How big are the mutton bars on these?
5/8.
But, Tomas, you asked the question, the windows in the front are what over what?
12 over 12.
They're all 12 over 12?
Except for the side elevation that has that larger window, the arched window, and the triple window that's in the kitchen, has a historic sill,
Yeah.
but is of a newer timeline than the original windows.
Monica, did you say you're proposing changing just the kitchen windows because of the,
I'm proposing that the kitchen windows are shorter. See
right,
how
so
I-
those would be new, but
Yeah.
the other existing ones on that proposed left elevation are going to stay?
Exactly.
Okay.
What's the thought on doing on the new windows, first and second floor, just the 12 over 1?
Why do they like that?
Why, yeah, just, is it just differentiation from the other house? Is it,
It's kind of what's currently in style or in vogue of new construction. People like them a lot. There's a lot of visibility in the bottom. It doesn't break up the whole light pattern. And so I would never think that a house would have a blank over blank window, although this house has replacements that are blank over blank currently that will be changed out to 12 over 12s. I think that by matching the paint pattern at the top, there's enough of a correlation to make it look like it happened at a different time, but still correlates with the house. That's kind of my thought with the red cedar shake versus the clapboard also. It kind of breaks up the fact that the house, because they want the larger box style of a house, it kind of breaks it up. And that's the only reason I brought the colored 3D thing again, this thing really kind of bites me when I bring it, because it's not technically correct, but it does show the difference. And on this, you can't, even though I'm telling you that the rear is going to be red cedar claps, you can't see it as well as when you see it on a 3D that's colored.
Shingle.
Huh?
Shingle.
Shingled, I'm sorry, shingled.
I agree, Monica. The
Yeah.
contrast will show some history. It's going to show a timeline.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
What about a fiberglass column instead of the AZAC? Is there any, what are your thoughts on, as a builder and as a designer, what do you think?
Well, I would prefer to see a wood-wrapped column, something in a red cedar that gets painted, and then at the bottom where it's in contact, that's fine if the base is a PVC. You've got great protection here in terms of that porch, so I don't think you're going to see any deterioration as a result of weather. And then the red cedar can be held up a little bit so that when the PVC goes over,
Sure.
that's in contact.
Yep.
And there's no wicking.
Are you thinking the decking of the porch is something that you want to be wood? Or could it be composite? The actual decking that you're stepping onto? I know.
I prefer to see wood.
Well, that's part of what you'll see, part of the corner that you'll see.
Okay.
Because the other side is the other side patio. that's
Yeah, it's patio.
According to your drawing, so it's not actually a deck, it's just
Right, patio.
pillars.
I don't know, some of that composite decking gets so hot to walk on.
And some of it stains and some of it swells, but there are some products that are really good if you have sort of trial and errored them.
But it would be making an exception to do the decking in composite.
Yeah, I'm not,
Based on-
I'm not strongly about it. I just actually want to be able to move forward on their projects, so whatever the requirements are, I think that we're willing to, go in that direction.
I've got some personal experience with friends who have used the composite decking and have regretted it.
Yeah. I've used mahogany decking at my house, and I regret that, but next time I'll do something different. You know, when you have to restain it, and it was brown to match your floor, and then you accidentally went out and your husband stained it mahogany.
If this is going to be wood, what are you proposing?
Probably fir. I mean, I'm open to suggestion, not mahogany.
The fir is not what the fir once was.
Right.
I think you'll find the exposed ends here where the weather will hit it. You're going to be unhappy.
And we did fir on the house on Lincoln Street, but we painted it.
Yeah.
And we
So if
painted
you-
it a couple times now in a short period of time. So,
And you're not liking the mahogany?
I don't like the red. I really want it to
Well, you
end
can let
up
it
being
silver.
brown.
You can
Yeah,
let it silver.
yeah.
You don't do
Untreated.
anything to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different stains out there that take the red out of it. I just redid ours, and you just got to use a real good cleaning solution when you
I
retreat
think
it.
Ben's right, you just leave it alone and it's
And then
silver.
you, there's all different shades, and it looks as good as new. I mean, you got to put a little bit of work into it, but, I mean, it's every, it depends upon how much weather you get, and this is covered, so it'll help, but, and the sun, the sun on it.
I had a problem where I used to use the clear stain over cedar to keep it new-looking, and they went ahead and took out the VOCs out of the products not too long ago. And so even though we used the same cabot, it looks like the same
Yep.
thing,
Yeah.
it has, I guess across the board, they really haven't been able to get it so that it's sort of like clear nail polish over the new-looking wood anymore. So it kind of turns orange. And I've accidentally turned somebody's house, it looked like a pumpkin. I mean, they approved it, but when you put it on, I mean, it was just,
You got to try a little piece in the
yeah.
sun and see how
Yeah,
it
they're
works
all
out.
different.
Have we approved E-Pay?
Yeah. How about if I say a hardwood?
hardwood.
And let them choose between ipe or mahogany or whatever they choose to be, because it doesn't matter the species as long as it's good and it's viable as far as the board is concerned, right?
Right. And just back to the molding and the PVC base, that would include a PVC cap.
Okay.
Do you guys want to see any more trim detail here? Is there enough?
Are your returns, are you duplicating what's on the main house?
No, because on the main house, when you came to the site visit, those were done not as detailed as you would like for the age of the house. And so I received the pictures of what was underneath it when the aluminum siding was taken off, and that's how they were underneath it, and that's why it was duplicated. But we agree that they could be done better from, our favorite book there. So we're going to redo the ones on the main house and continue them on the back of the house, where they're, as you could say, in the book, done the correct way for the gable return.
So we could get a reference for that? Okay.
I can take a picture from the,
Get your house.
yeah, Get Your House Right, and show you that that's how they're going to get done. And my finished carpenter has looked at it, and he's like, that's the way we're going to do it. Some of the things that were done were copied from the original way that the house was underneath, but it wasn't technically correct at that point.
I see. The dormer roof, so when you look at the proposed left elevation and proposed right elevation, that's going to be a rubber membrane?
Yes.
And when I look at the proposed rear elevation, the volume in between those two gable ends would also be rubber? I don't see any indication of pitch. It looks like it's probably greater than the 2.5.
On the thing, it is 2.5 by 12, the pitch of this, of the gate, of the,
In between the two
between.
gable ends, you're creating kind of a Nantucket dormer look, a modified Nantucket dormer look. That portion that's near the chimney, that would be rubber? Okay.
You mentioned last time potentially doing copper there.
yeah.
No.
I don't think it's going to happen. He likes the idea of it. I'm currently estimating it, so we'll see if that flies. I do like the idea of it. It's kind of a financial situation, I guess.
He does know that most of the copper now is treated so that it doesn't turn green over time, right?
Right. It turns brown.
Yeah.
I personally like the lead-coated copper, but not a lot of people like it. I like it. I just like the gray of it.
I like that look.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't be a standing seam at that pitch. It might be what they call a flat lock.
I have a question about the height, and this may be backtracking, but I didn't see that we approved the height the last time. We only approved the foundation. And if people could remind me of our consideration of the height of the proposal, that would be helpful.
I don't think there was a whole lot of discussion on the height, other than there was going to be it was going to be below the peak. Do we give
Below the ridge.
Do we give a specific number on that, on the ridge height?
No.
I don't think we did.
No, I don't think we did. No, we didn't. And so I think, if I remember correctly from the original drawings, you did lower that, the ridge of the addition.
So it's 2.5, not 3, by and large? Stories?
Oh.
Well, this is, what is the, what's the ridge height below the main peak, Monica? Let's start there.
The ridge height below the main peak.
On, where are you looking? Okay.
Proposed left, proposed right, what's the, what is that drop down?
I would say 6 inches
Looks like 6.
by looking at this drawing, but I can have it.
So to answer your question, I would say this is a 3-story.
The other thing about this house, as far as story height, is it's a squatty, short house. The ceiling height inside the house is not, maybe 8. It's a very short ceilinged, squatty house. Even from the side, you can see that it's not very tall. It has like a mass to it, but it's not a tall house. So by bringing it down below the ridge, that's basically what we can do to get space on the 3rd floor. There are 2 rooms currently up there on each end where those windows are, but they want to be able to have a staircase that goes from the basement to the 3rd floor. And I think we had talked about earlier the consideration with the staircase. That's where that modern square window is on the right elevation. It's taking up a 1/3 of the house. It's a new staircase that somebody built because there wasn't an adequate staircase. The front staircase is pretty, but you're in somebody's bedroom on either end as soon as you walk in.
And the existing, I think that's up there in the front, they're not going to be using that?
They're going to use it for storage,
Okay.
and we also are going to put an HVAC system up there.
Right, but that's just going to run along the walls, right?
He really wants to use the rear of the house where it comes up and have 2 rooms there, and then you can get to the 2 rooms. Then there's a massive chimney right in front of where the staircase is going to come up, so it's kind of unusable space up there. It has one of those center chimneys that has multiple fireplaces off of it. It's a substantial block in the center of the attic space, which kind of divides it into the 2 rooms on either side. But even when you go up the current staircase, which is like a really tall, steep staircase, you end up at this giant block of fireplace, and you have to kind of get around it to get to either side. So it's not super usable space, and it's not extremely high up there. It's high enough at the peak, but I was hoping that the HVAC guy would run the HVAC across the front of the house and work his way back. He, of course, would like to run it in back, right where he wants the rooms, just because it's easier in new construction to go from the rear all the way up. If he does that, it'll be inside the knee walls.
Right.
Is it a consideration for us that this is 3 stories and that's unusual in a historic district?
Yeah, I don't think we've ever approved 3 stories. I don't. I agree with Virginia.
I think the house directly next door is 3 stories, to the right of it. That's the condos.
Oh, well, decision or not.
But I believe that if that's true, that was before the historic board. That was a condo conversion of a historic home.
The condos were there. The right side was rebuilt. The left side was existing. It was John Riley's project.
One of the considerations, I think, on Station Street for the first project was that it was 3 stories. And, it wasn't the only consideration in it being voted down, but it was a consideration.
From the building department and how they look at projects, there's nothing to prevent a 3-story building to be constructed in Hingham, correct?
No. 35 feet.
30, yes,
Their
that's...
max height.
That's your max. I think from, looking at it from a historic district's viewpoint, there's some considerations here because of, looking at the, the streetscape and looking at other houses in the neighborhood. And, if the other, within the district where this is, if, you don't see 3 stories, then I think there's an issue here.
But I think that this helps with that. This is the view from Burton's Lane, not the view that you're talking about from up Burton's Lane to one house up, but this is the view from the side of the property on Burton's Lane. And the property in the back, and the reason I just keep bringing this up is, this is pretty small compared to the main house in this view. We already know that the other house can't be seen, and although if you're way up Burton's Lane and you turn around, you can probably see the back of the property where the dormers are. It's not a primary view of the historic home.
I mean, given that the original construction is 3 stories, it doesn't seem outlandish that the addition is 3 stories.
Usually, we would step them down, and there would be 2 stories behind it. I mean, most of the historic original houses would be 3 stories with the attic space, and we would oftentimes step them down, and then you would have, this area would be
An attic space.
an attic space or a storage space, but it would be stepped down. You could also have an air condition, mechanical, so on and so forth, so that you would have a small space above the 2nd floor for that kind of stuff, but usually a crawl space or something like that.
But I think the house is unusual, too, in that it's the ceiling heights of each floor is short, so it limits your ability to say, we can use a space for a staircase without creating a space for it.
Yeah, but that's because the house is from 1726, correct? I think, that's what I read.
I think we went through that discussion, and I think the homeowners were here, and we went through an extended discussion about how they could utilize the existing space and the need for the staircase, and that was why we ended up with that. And I think it was a fairly extensive discussion in which people proffered suggestions, and it really came out to be unusable. They couldn't get a staircase up. Is that, that's my memory, if that's right, that the ability to be able to have that space was contingent upon being able to have a staircase to use it, and at the height of the ceilings. So I think we kind of went around that for a good while, and explored several possibilities.
Just the other thing I'd just like to state is that there's never been a discussion about 3 stories, one way or the other, with respect to this project. So this is a new element to be considering whether or not 3 stories are going to work.
I think it's similar, it's smaller, it's a little bit shorter than the existing house. I mean, I don't consider it, it doesn't appear as if it's a full 3-story house. I mean, you could argue it's a 2.5 or a 3, and I think even if you change, I think if you look at the rear of the house, the way it's broken up in the roof is that, it could be if that roof was sloped without these windows here, you could argue, well, it looks like the main house, but I think it's kind of popped up with these dormers, so, maybe it's closer to a 2.5-story house than a 3-story. It's certainly no different than the existing house. And I think the way that the mass is broken up in the back, and it's a little shorter than the main house, I don't see an issue with the height personally.
And I would not call that plainly inappropriate.
Okay. Anybody else?
Now, we haven't seen a landscape or hardscape plan.
Right.
So you're going to submit that separately, I assume?
Yes, because they are going to do it in the spring. And she hired a professional landscape person and excavator to do the work, so I'll let them come in and present it. It's very simple in the front. It's actually very simple. I think we kind of talked about it a little bit at the site visit, but I don't think it will be problematic in that we'll do a drainage to the left side where, through the French drains, going down to that lower area that has this sort of creek near the playground. And in the front of the house, the way those pillars are on either side of the front door, one side is symmetrical and the other side doesn't have anything. So the proposal will be to copy the left side to the right side that's existing, and then just do some nice plantings. There's nothing that seems outlandish in there. They just want to be able to maintain it and have some pretty landscape. And I listened to the bush selection and stuff on the front, and it's, small landscape bushes and so forth. I don't think there's anything that would be controversial, but I will definitely have it, have them come in and tell you what the proposal is.
Any thoughts related to the window design as Monica has these drawn? The 12/1.
The 8/1.
I'm looking at the second floor.
It does show 12/1, Monica.
They're all
He's got
12/1.
12/1.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
So is everybody comfortable with the 12/1 versus what's currently existing on the house, which is different than this?
Currently existing is 12/12?
I think it's okay. I think as Ben was describing, it's sort of a progression. It shows a change in time, and I don't think it's inappropriate.
I actually like them.
And
Okay.
I think in a way, I know that the big arched window would be not something that we might not choose currently if we were proposing the big arched window, but the big arched window with its pattern, with the blank on the bottom, I think it somehow kind of pulls it together slightly.
It's a little bit of an echo there.
Yeah, it just kind of,
Okay, do you guys want to go through the worksheet? Make sure we've got everything. If there's no other questions for Monica. And I'll just ask some questions. Does the new building reflect the site factors that are common on the street in terms of setbacks, orientation to the street, spacing, distance from adjacent buildings, visible from a public way?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. Is the proposed new addition placed so that it will minimize the visual impact of the historic structure?
And
Yep.
yes.
Is the scale of the new construction consistent with the width, the height proportions, and floor-to-floor proportions when compared to the adjacent structures into the site?
Yes.
Does a new addition overpower the existing historic building?
No.
Massing. Is a new construction compatible with the adjacent historic buildings and other historic buildings in the streetscape in terms of height, design, materials, roof forms, foundation, footprint?
Yes.
Yes.
Is a new addition over 50% larger in square feet than the existing historic building?
no.
Monica provided some square footage numbers of a proposed addition of 1,873 square feet versus 3,872 square feet, so it's slightly under 50% of the additional, of the current building. Okay, so no to that. Is the height of the new construction compatible with the adjacent historic buildings and other historic buildings in the streetscape?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, is the height of the new addition subservient to that of the existing building?
6 inches.
Slightly.
Okay, is there a harmonious relation of each part facade of the building to the whole?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, does the new construction reflect the rhythm of the surrounding buildings in a manner that contributes to the special character of the historic district?
Yes.
Okay, so just for the record, on the foundation, I did not vote for this in the first go-around. My main issue was I thought this could be, designed as an L off the back and something a little bit more consistent with the district. I continue to think that. So just for the record, I'm a little bit different from the group there on that. Is the design of the new construction architecturally compatible with the surrounding buildings that contribute to the overall character of the historic district?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And the other issue that I had with this was if new construction on an existing building is the design such that if the new construction were to be removed in the future, the existing building would be intact. Interested in the viewpoint there.
Yeah, except for the chimney, which I didn't seem especially.
When I looked at this last time, because there was so much extensive work to the rear and to the roof of the rear of the building, I thought reversing this would be problematic. So that was the other issue that I had. Okay,
So
materials.
what is our finding there? What does
Finding,
everybody else think
yeah, what do you guys think?
about reversibility?
I think so.
I think it's reversible.
What, I'm sorry, could you just,
I think, yes.
it would be reversible in your opinion?
And I think we're willing to sacrifice that chimney in
Okay.
terms of reversibility.
To sacrifice the chimney?
This,
The
the one
rear
on the end
chimney.
here. There's a chimney on the end that is looks modern,
Not the main chimney.
not the main chimney.
So my vote will be, my view on this will be different. Are the materials proposed for the new construction compatible with the historic materials and finishes found in the surrounding buildings or the existing building, if an addition that contribute to the special character of the historic district?
Yes.
Are the windows and doors proposed for new construction compatible with those surrounding buildings and contribute to the special character of the historic district with respect to material, subdivision, proportion, pattern, and detail?
Yes.
Yes, and we will, we'll call out the specifics for the windows in a motion. Roof, are the roof forms and pitches of the new construction consistent with the adjacent historic buildings?
Yes.
Okay. Will the new construction affect the overall character of the historic streetscape in this location with respect to site, character defining site features, trees, and historical significant vistas and views? No impact. Zoning, is the new construction cited so that it's consistent with the setbacks of other buildings in the streetscape?
Yes.
Yes. Demolition, does a proposed demolition apply to the main building or an outbuilding? Yes. Chimney and rear brick to be removed, correct?
Right.
Has evidence been provided to justify demolition?
Yes.
Yeah.
All agreed?
Yes.
Okay.
Site inspection.
Have reasonable alternatives to demolition been explored? Not applicable. Will demolition adversely affect adjacent historic buildings or the character-defining nature of the streetscape?
No.
No. Okay. Anything else we need to ask Monica about or discuss? Okay. Are we ready for a motion then? Okay. Thanks.
I'd like to make a motion to issue a certificate of appropriateness to 279 North Street for the addition to the rear of the house based on drawings dated November 16th, 2018, Windows, window patterns to be per JB Sash submittal. All windows to be wood, simulated divided light Marvin windows with 5/8 inch muntins. All exterior siding to be cedar shingles. All trim to be wood. No composite materials acceptable with the exception of the pergola and column bases. The three-panel door on the proposed right elevation can be clad by choice of the owner. Roofing to be asphalt with the exception of membrane at the two shed dormers and infill roof.
We're going to suggest hardwood deck material.
Decking material to be hardwood.
And I think you said plan date November 18th, that this was dated the 16th?
November 16th.
November
2000.
16th, but this is also a modified drawing, and it's still got the same date as this
As the
other
original?
drawing. So it's a modified November 16th drawing.
Okay, fair enough.
And submitting eve return detail?
Yep, for review. And landscape and hardscape plan to be submitted for review.
And if I could add, the cedar shingles are to weather naturally. And a residential drip cap on the rubber, if in fact you choose rubber up on that. What's the thought on the doors? What did we say on those exterior doors?
He called out the composite for the right side.
On the right side.
And then everything else would be Marvin
So the proposed left elevation where there's a singleton, that would be a wood?
wood door.
I thought the right was, the recommendation was wood, at least in informal discussion, to have all wood if it was,
Well, again, I don't think this is visible back here, so.
All right.
On the
Right.
door it was approved.
Just the
We-
door.
We agreed that they could put clad in, right, just for the door?
Right.
And I think the chairman noted that it might be more harmonious to
Yeah.
have all the
Yeah.
windows the same.
So on the proposed left elevation, that's a wood unit. On the proposed right elevation, clad. Speaking of the doors.
And on the left elevation, I'm using the antique door,
Repurposing a door, right?
repurposing the door.
Okay. And I heard the pergola is composite. Did I hear pergola is composite?
Yes.
Virginia,
You can't see it.
see it?
You can't see it.
you can't see it?
This is pulled forward, as is
Yeah.
that. That's a recess.
I understand. Not convinced, but I understand.
Okay. Any other thing we need to add? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed?
Opposed?
Okay. So you got it.
Thank you. Thanks for seeing me.
Yeah. We'll see you next time, Monica? For the other piece?
Yes.
Terrific.
Okay.
Drawing, proposed, go.
Thank you.
Good night, Monica. Can I just ask, with respect to the vote, who seconded?
Yeah, actually, second would be, Ronnie,
I
you-
seconded.
Okay, fine.
Sorry
I
about-
whispered it.
sorry about that.
No, no. And then, your vote was a no.
I'm a no.
Okay, so it was a 3-2.
Thank you, guys.
All right, good.
Good night.
Have a good holiday.
Me too.
All right. We lose Peter? Do you want to take a quick look at the, oh, here he is, okay. Hey, Peter. Hey, we've been waiting.
Poor Peter.
I'm just kidding you. Sorry for the delay. All right. So,
Bless you.
the Zaccardi's were in last time, and we had an initial rough plan that you showed to us, and we have some revised drawings that were in your packet, and maybe you could walk us through some of the changes that you've made, and then we can go from there.
Okay, well, we made the front of the house a little more prominent, and stretched it out to 24 feet, was able to fit that on the lot. We changed the window design slightly.
And that's the left side elevation, correct, is the front?
Yes. The long side faces Blaisdell. And then we staggered the ridge heights going down Blaisdell. And we modified the first bump out on the left side elevation from the previous. And what Bob isn't showing here are the boxed out rakes that will be applied. And what else? I did have him make some last minute modifications. Unfortunately, they came out, bless you, at a smaller scale. But it's mostly on the Blaisdell side, over the porch, to lower the roof line over the porch.
Doesn't that look the same as this?
Isn't that the same as this, Pete?
Yeah, it's very similar, except for the, this is a full window here. So this roof line is dropped,
Yeah.
make it less prominent. And we're showing some boxed out rakes there. They'll be applied everywhere. Thank you. And then I did do some digging and found a Anderson 400 series Woodwright for the simulated true divider lights with the 3/4 mutton. And was proposing black windows with the white or off-white sashes. I'm sorry, off-white casings with the half screen. What he's not showing in the rear would be the 3 casement windows in the kitchen, and those would be the simulated 2/1. That Anderson 400 series makes. Looks more true to a double hung window.
We don't have rear drawings, right?
I believe so.
We do.
Is this?
Yes.
Second page.
No, I'm talking about, like, way down
No.
Blaisdell. So if you're way down Blaisdell and you're looking,
That's
Yeah,
the right
that-
side elevation.
That would be looking at the garage.
oh, okay, gotcha. My mistake, thank you. All right, any questions for Peter? Go ahead.
In the, see, this drawing from December 11th, you've changed the, this was out of necessity because of structural reasons, changing it to the smaller 4 light on the second floor, going from this version
No,
to that?
no, I went out of my way to drop it, so it
Okay,
would be less massive.
okay. The overhead garage doors in this drawing from the 6th, are you just going to go with what you had originally proposed? These are just, they're blank, the overhead
Right,
garage doors.
yeah, you
I'm just
kinda
assuming that got missed.
Yeah, even
Okay.
even the first drawing, they wouldn't be as elaborate as that.
Okay.
He just plugged in
I see.
2 garage doors.
Okay,
What I usually do is put the 4 windows on the 3rd level, kind of like the turn of the century.
okay, so you could
It's been
provide a
around
cut,
here for years.
you could provide a cut sheet of that at a later date?
Yes.
A picture of that. And I want to thank you for these updated drawings and eliminating this box bay, and it's helped tremendously.
Oh, you're welcome, thanks.
That's a big improvement.
And widening that antique in the front, that front facade or left side elevation, the main street, is very helpful.
I've noticed that since these drawings were done, I prefer the 2 windows on the 2nd floor of the left side elevation, but I've noticed up and down the street, there've been 3 on the 2nd floor. So I'd be certainly open to that.
I think that would help that facade. I think it really needs that 3rd window. And then, so they're all centered, that window on the right.
He actually had them, I had him change it to 2, but
Yeah.
looking back now, I can see
Sorry, here you're thinking 3.
the 3, yeah.
So again, above that mudroom, this adjustment for December 11th, that smaller window, I understand you wanted to bring the eave line down. I'm not, I won't answer for the other commission members, but that squattier window with the siding next to, it appears to be something is missing. What's that interior finish there? Is that
The interior stairway?
is that the stairway? Okay.
And so would that be high up somehow in the
Yeah,
the
above it.
landing is on what I'm visualizing?
The landing's 4 stairs down from the top floor. So that's where I would have headroom to do that.
That's A 1.2. You can see the window positioning.
So if you're standing on that landing, would you be able to look out the window, or is the window up higher?
No, it would be the second half of the sash, typically.
I think my only point is that you've got this void to the left and the right of that 4-light window, and then you have essentially more roof in that iteration. I mean, you have more mass, more roof there.
Sure, I'd certainly be open to this look as well.
Okay. All right.
Is that the one,
This is the one you had,
right?
yeah.
I don't have any other questions.
Yeah, I have some things. One is, for me, in looking at the proposal, you know, it's a petite neighborhood in the sense that it's 7/8 scale. Most of the houses are capes and 7/8 scale. And I think the proposal, although it would be helpful to see more numbers, I think what you're proposing is quite tall for the site, given the context. And I think houses should fit in the context. I think diversity is fine, but I think they should fit in the context, and I think this is too large for the site as I see it. The other thing, to inform that, it would be very helpful to have a site plan to see how the house fits on the site in relation to things. Okay.
That was from the last set of drawings.
Oh, okay, I was just looking at this.
I have a larger one here.
Okay.
The houses on Blaisdell are certainly petite,
No, I know.
shack-like, but the
Right.
ones on Main Street are about this
Thank you.
proportion.
Yeah, no, I know the area well because I live in it. But, you know, they're cape-like, and I think the gable on Main Street is a good establishment of rapport with what's there now. The other is, I think my main concern is the height. I think it would also be helpful to see setbacks and where the house is going to fit. How big is the siting of the house, given the plot? Because I don't have a good feel for that in light of the current drawings, unless it's the same as what was proposed before.
It's the same as what's there now.
The
The
numbers
addition of
are...
the garage.
Okay.
It's exactly the same measurements,
Okay,
And did you show that, oh, I'm sorry to interrupt.
except now it's 24 feet wide in the front
yeah,
versus 20.
yeah. So the other is, you know, there's a lot of, or several pine trees in the back on Blaisdell. I don't know what you would be proposing to do with the pine trees, since they're part of the history.
Well, only the ones threatening the house now, not pine trees, but there are some other trees that have
Yeah,
pretty big splits in them, and they're overhanging the ranch that's there now.
yeah,
Those would certainly have to come down. I believe I counted 5 or 6 with my treescape
yeah,
man, and some of the pine trees on Blaisdell are dead,
yeah.
and they're just brown with vine growing up it.
Yeah, no, I understand that problem.
There's a huge one on the corner that certainly is not going to be touched.
Yeah.
And-
Well, anything that has viability,
Yeah.
given, you know, that it is, has been there, and
It's
old
nice
trees are
screening,
hard.
too.
Yeah, no, right.
For the neighbors.
So I guess, you know, I do respect that it's a tough property to work with, to develop, to get what you want out of it, and to respect the streetscape. I really do acknowledge that. And I think, you know, the elongation is very prominent. And to my appreciation for what's there is probably too prominent in the sense of the, you know, it's a small dog with a big tail, is the only way I can put it.
That's probably how I would describe the lot.
Yeah, no, I am, yeah. And I appreciate the challenge of that, but, anyway, to minimize that scope.
I think also on the site plan, it shows existing outbuildings that are there.
Yeah,
So it
They're
goes
coming down,
to
right?
about, yeah,
They're
it
coming
goes to
down.
about, not even past, it would come to about 2/3 of, I believe,
a lot,
Before
the last outbuilding.
If I remember correctly, I think you said when the abutters were here the last time, you said there was about 60 feet between the end of
Yes.
the
There was a
garage
significant space.
and the abutter property line.
I was
They
con-
seemed very comfortable with that.
Yeah, they certainly want that, but encroach
so
on-
the whole dwelling is only going to the first outbuildings.
yeah.
Right.
There was a garage, now it'll be a 2-car garage Well, I'm
Yeah.
proposing instead of a one-car,
Yeah.
but,
If you could do anything with the height, I think it would be helpful in terms of massing, but just
I
a
think I
thought.
tried to address that with staggering the roof
Yeah,
between the garage and the front house. And that was actually proposed by the panel.
I think it's mainly the garage that I think is quite dominant.
I would agree with Virginia's assessment. I think you've made some really positive changes here from that first go-around. And I think, just to echo what Virginia's saying, I think if you look at this, if you look at that drawing right there down the bottom, I think what you've done here is you kind of took our initial suggestions and made that gable facing the street more prominent. And I think what would work well with this house, if you could somehow drop that ridge in the back where the garage is.
Certainly,
So it makes it a little bit more subservient, and it could amplify the prominence of that gable facing the street. The other thing that might work well is on this bump out here, on this section right here.
Yep.
If that could be tucked in just a little bit, maybe a foot or so on this side, I'm wondering, that would further accentuate,
Going that way a foot?
the gable facing the street. So
The length of that bump.
Yeah, and I don't know the measurements here because they're not but just visually, it might add even more to that gable facing the street. This, the third floor over the garage, if you could do without that, that might help you get that gable down.
My initial drawing was, I believe, it was cutting the window in half, the eave, and that window wasn't there. I've since raised the garage, just to show the staggering of the height more.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about people in the past having barns and connecting them.
Right.
So that's why I made it actually bigger, taller.
Yeah.
And
But I bet if this could be reduced a little, probably wouldn't impact that master bedroom, and to address Virginia's concern, it could be a transitional flow to the rest of Blaisdell, where the portion facing Main Street is consistent with that Main Street area, and this is sort of a transitional gateway.
I don't
To the
have my
rest of
original
Blaisdell.
drawings.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
But, if-
I was just thinking
if
that
someone had
this
the
might be
original drawing-
easy to...
Maybe we could show that. Yeah. That drops down.
Yeah, I
And
think
we could even lose that dormer probably.
I think this drawing is wonderful, but if maybe
Bring it
just a
down.
little bit down, I think that master bedroom is still fabulous, and it creates a flow that sort of guides you back to the
I
rest of
think maybe we could bring
Blaisdell.
this line here down to
Yeah,
the windowsill, like it shows here.
Yeah.
and I,
And there's certainly plenty of room in that master.
yep.
What's the overall height, Peter, of the main gable?
18, say 30 feet, 29 feet.
All right, so we'll get that next time from you, the exact,
Let's see, he has, oh jeez, I got him. Yeah, I could tell you right now. 31 feet off the ground.
And so the garage is 31 too, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I wouldn't want you to change the pitches too much here. I think the pitches line up well.
Right.
But I think if you could drop this down a foot or two, if you could make that work, that might be, don't go below your ridge here, but,
No, yeah, I could certainly drop it down lower than the height of the plate.
okay.
Maybe cut that second floor window in half
Okay.
with the eave lines up to it.
Yeah, you don't want to cram that window up in there, but,
I would eliminate the window at that
Okay.
point. It would be unusable,
okay,
because that would probably be a cathedral
okay.
ceiling.
It'd be hard to clean that window.
Yes, certainly.
What's this width right here? The width of with the bump out from corner to, that whole,
With the bump out,
yeah, what is that whole width? And then how much is the bump out?
the bump out is 10 feet.
I think it's 36, is that correct, from the original drawing?
Let's see. Yeah, a couple of things changed on the original.
The whole thing?
You
think he changed it?
24, 28, 38 feet
38, and then the bump out is,
total. The bump out's,
Probably 10 from here, but 14 from here.
the bump out's 10 feet past that first bump out.
Okay.
Right there. First bump out is 4 feet,
yeah. Okay.
so that would be,
10.
What do you guys think about tucking that in a little bit?
So that was on my list of
Was it?
things to
I think it would be
to talk about.
very positive.
At least a foot,
Foot, maybe?
sure.
if not more.
Okay. What else did you have, Mike? I'm good.
I think we talked about it already. I think the 3 windows in the front I think that would certainly make an improvement. I agree with pulling in the side a little bit, dropping the roof of the garage. The other thing I don't want to forget about is what is being called the rear elevation, but it's essentially the left-hand side elevation. And I think if there's some differentiation where that front house is, right, we're saying the big house in the front, that there's a differentiation, because right now, this is just one long flat wall over there. So if you take that front house and it's, even if it's, 6 inches or a foot or something like that, of a plane difference between these two, I think that would
It would
be,
really break it up.
that would start to create similar things on the opposite side of the house.
That's a good idea.
And I
Very good idea.
And I think in regard to casement windows, I don't know that we typically approve those. I know they're pretty common in the kitchens, but a lot of times we'll see some double-hung windows above the countertop height, which, they're a little more difficult to reach to, but I think double-hung
Yeah.
as opposed to the casement would be more appropriate in this situation.
Okay.
Like, what if the trim board was kind of right here? You drop it down, that's your
This is
break
looking pretty great.
Yeah.
between the two.
It's looking pretty
Yeah,
great.
but I think there should be a
Come-
plain
come-
difference.
come
even
in a
if
little
it's
bit?
Just a little bit.
Would you use this point here?
Yep.
So what Mike is saying here is, that's your plane here,
Yep.
and then just coming in 6 inches or something from the main
Yep.
house. And then this comes out again, right? To the garage?
I think so on that last plan.
Does this come out
The
again?
garage actually goes towards Blaisdell, 2 feet.
Okay, that goes in further. Okay, I got you. All right, that'll work.
And this is a mudroom door. And that's a garage door.
Yeah, the back garage door isn't necessary, but
Yeah, that does seem,
I like the door better than a patio door going into the kitchen.
Yeah, I bet you could lose the third door, but
Yeah, 3 doors along that side.
the 3 doors is a little funny.
Put another window here.
Yeah, yeah, what's in that space on the floor plan? Right here where there's a blank. Could you put another window there?
Certainly.
And I think, there's obviously been enough changes to the elevations, and I think we're getting to the point where this is starting to make more sense. So if you can update the plans to reflect whatever it is that you're going to make adjustments on the elevations, I think that'll be helpful too.
Yeah, I think the floor plan was changed from the original to match what he was drawing last. And change those again.
I think this is going to look great.
Want to use any shutters?
Not at this time, but certainly could, depending upon the spacings. Sometimes they get pretty crowded.
If you're going to do
Okay.
You gonna be right on the front of the house?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how that 3 is going to look up there. Maybe you won't have room with the 3 on that change, but certainly with the 2, you could do it.
Well, I think it's, you might be able to get the shutters in. You see that quite a bit, shutters on, even if there's the 3s.
Yeah.
But I think the 3 windows is more important than the shutters.
You gonna do a wood clapboard?
Yeah.
You mentioned an Anderson 400 series. It's a clad unit.
No, it's a wood, right?
Yeah,
It's a wood window.
wood outside.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not familiar with Anderson making any wood products anymore. Typically, they'll do a clad.
I should have brought it with me. I have a cut sheet of another house that I'm doing right now.
Okay. That would be great if we could see that, yeah.
I could certainly email that over, too.
Thank you, that'd be great.
What did the side on that stairwell component for that window, that one little one? We're gonna, Ben, what was,
Well, if you compare, the handout that we got.
it's got 2 versus the 1.
Well, but I was taking a closer look at the actual mass of the roof and then the void either side of that four-light. So if you look at the height of the roof, because the eave is much lower.
So which do you prefer? The new one that was handed out or the old one? You
No,
prefer the old one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think,
Bigger window, right?
Less room.
Yes, the taller window, yeah.
okay.
What about even no window? Is that too blank a space there?
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you'll miss it.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to put a light by that door.
Yeah.
Take up some of that space there.
On the porch?
Yeah, like right to the left of the door.
I think there's something there, it's just overshadowed by the
Oh, is that something?
dashes and
Okay.
It would
showing
be
the staircase.
It would be a blank because the stairs are right there.
Yeah, you put a nice lantern there or something.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Where does the mail get delivered, on Blaisdell Street?
I think so.
If you can also submit any cut sheets for any of those light fixtures you're thinking about too, and then we can look at those too.
Is there any thought to adding them, or, right now it's kind of blank? I have one on the front, well, this left side elevation. There's one
Looks like there's one
next to the
drawn.
door on the porch. I have nothing on the garage right now, but it looks like the brackets are on the way.
Yeah, it would be hard to get lights there. You may have to do soffit
Sure.
lights there.
two lights in the front, on either side of the door in the front?
Sure.
I think. But I for the front of the house.
Yes.
And then just the design of the overhead garage door would be helpful, what you want, that cut,
Sure.
that would be great.
Peter, why do you, why two doors here, kind of next to each other? Because there's,
One is for the back mudroom,
okay.
to get there from the backyard,
Yep.
and the other is for the kitchen versus a patio door.
Mm-hmm.
But felt I needed something to get from the house to the backyard,
Yep.
and that's usually where the action is, in the kitchen.
Yep.
I don't think the mudroom door is really necessary, but
Yeah, I mean, you could do a different type of door there to make it a little bit more interesting. You could do a French door, a couple doors there, maybe if you've got the room. You know,
Well, that's-
add a little bit more light to the kitchen. Just a thought.
I think to the left of that is pantries designed,
Okay.
so that brings you to the left, from the outside to the left would be the pantry.
Okay.
To the right is a little space before the base cabinet starts.
Okay. So maybe,
And in the kitchen, there wouldn't be any overhead cabinets on that wall with it, showing the triple casement.
yep.
And I think it would be hard to lose the mudroom door, because if you're in the garage and want to get out to the backyard, if you don't have the door in the back of the garage, through the mudroom is a very convenient, you can just pop out. You might want to swing the door between the mudroom and the garage the other way, so you can go out if you want.
This triple single, I don't know if there's something there that just doesn't,
The kitchen?
yeah.
Oh, he didn't put it in, but generally, Anderson will give me a pretty heavy divider line to
Okay.
make it look like a 2/1,
Okay.
so 3 2/1 windows.
Okay.
It looks, at quick glance, it looks like a double-hung window, or certainly as close as you can to it with the casement.
Yeah, something that would match up a little bit better with the rest of the windows. This kind of looks, I mean, just in this drawing, it looks,
It's certainly cheaper to go 3 double-hung, but it's,
I think that's
people
what Mike
don't
is
like
saying.
it reaching over, and
I think that
especially
was
if
Mike.
it's sticky.
like you said.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Actually swing the door between the mudroom and the garage into the garage.
Yeah, that,
And now we're getting into the weeds.
I see what you mean, that
Yeah.
doesn't work at all.
Right.
I noticed that. It's, sometimes with my architect and engineer, it's fix it in the field.
Any other input we can give Peter? Any more questions?
Is there a color palette that would go with this?
I can certainly bring something next time around.
I think Peter
Or-
was saying a black sash? A black sash on the
Black
windows?
sash on the
Yeah,
windows.
with the off-white,
Okay, so
casings.
so the frame and the casing is...
Black.
Okay, the frame is black, the sash is black, the casing's off-white.
Yeah, that could be black as well.
And do you have a color in mind for the clapboard?
Offhand, it would be like a Stonington gray, but something
If you have a palette, that would be...
something
Sure,
in the
we do.
historical chart,
Sure.
but I'm open to anything.
Okay, great.
And then, Mike, I don't know, did you mention materials, species? Not species, but material callouts?
No, not yet.
Okay. So maybe on the drawings, just based on the previous applicant?
Yeah,
Okay.
it'd just certainly be charcoal, lifetime architectural shingles on the roof.
Okay, and
It's full.
then for the trim, it's a wood product?
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be, just the typical wood.
And the decking at the front door? Or, I'm sorry, on the front elevation that brings you into, next to the garage, that's a deck there?
The 1x4 mahogany.
Okay.
Certainly be treated. It checks up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And wood doors, too,
Yes.
and wood garage doors.
Yeah. Yeah, they're actually, they're the same doors you see up and down every street. They used to be on the, right on the shelf, now you order them.
You did all your questions, answered, comments?
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else?
That looks good.
I just,
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for listening from where we were with this drawing here, and the changes that were made, I think is a great improvement. It looks really, really good.
Oh, thanks.
So,
It helps
so I
me
think
with my
with
end
the-
result as well.
With the changes that Hans and Virginia and Ben and Mike have suggested, I think it's going to come out fabulous. I
Thanks.
really do. Pressing it down from where we started to this, I think it looks really good.
I think actually,
That's right.
it'll frame easier as well. Help everyone.
Good.
But thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have any more questions for us? You're in good shape, have we given you some input, you kind of know where you're going, and,
Yeah,
okay.
I can get everything turned over pretty quickly.
Yep, and we have another meeting coming up in January.
It's January the 10th.
Okay.
Okay.
And so if whatever you, if you could give something to me a week ahead of time,
Yeah,
that would be,
these changes are certainly pretty small for what to
Okay.
make for me.
okay, great.
And we hope things work out with the gas company, get that going.
Yeah,
My
it's
gosh.
it's pretty frustrating.
Daily battle.
It's becoming a hardship.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean,
2 months mortgage
it's
so far.
probably not just you that they're holding.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that's,
It's going all
I
over.
see propane tanks everywhere. You know, temporary, later on, they'll all have to change the orifices
Yeah,
back to natural gas.
okay. Great.
Good.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night. Happy holidays.
All right, so we have some minutes to go over.
And then I also have,
this vast.
Andrea gave us some minutes just before the meeting started, if take a few minutes to review them. Sherry compiled all the
Thank you, Sherry.
notes,
welcome. Hooray for Sherry.
very
Ray for
complete.
Sherry.
She's, I think she misses much.
No, wonderful format.
I appreciate the font size.
Yeah, the bigger font.
Bob Font.
I need it too.
I didn't find anything, Sherry.
No, I think very well written, makes it easy to read and clear.
Does that, do one of them, does one of them contain the 6 Station Street decision? September. Yeah,
Yes.
it's the 27th, yeah, so.
September 27th.
Yeah, so that was the decision, we gave the decision to the planning board because they'll have a joint meeting on Tuesday, right?
Yep, Tuesday.
With the ZBA and for 6 Station Street for Matt Falconeri's project.
So it does say at the end of the minutes, next meeting is on October 18th.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
We made it the 25th.
5th, we did, so I will make, that's right, we had to change that, so I'll make that change, thank you.
Catch.
Eagle eye.
That's right, because we had to reschedule.
Yeah, we had to reschedule, so.
Do you want to talk about the book, real
I
quick?
would love to talk about the book.
Ronnie's still reading. Go ahead, Ronnie, take your time.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm good, thank you.
not yet, but I think Hans is directing me to talk about the book and give Ronnie some additional time if she needs it.
I'm good, I'm good. thank
All right, well, do you want to do the minutes, then I'll do the book?
Okay, so we have in front of us the minutes for September 27th, 2018, and October 25th, 2018. Any changes?
No.
Okay, somebody like to make a motion to approve the minutes from those two dates?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great.
Great, thank you. Okay, so I would like to talk about the Historical Commission's latest book. Martha Reardon Buick, who lives in town and is quite accomplished in a lot of respects. She also sings with the BSO, and so she does wonderful stuff with the Tanglewood Chorus. But anyway, she also, started off as a research project for the Historical Commission, just to find out a little bit about Tranquility Grove, which is right across Central Street, behind the houses, behind the properties there, and it's a wooded area. And this book addresses, at one time that was a grove that was frequented by anybody who just wanted to, church groups, anybody who wanted to get away and have a nice picnic or an outdoors experience. And it was owned, it was privately owned, but open to the public. So, it was the site chosen for the Great Abolitionist Picnic of 1844, held right here in Hingham. And this is really a remarkable story because there were thousands of people who came by coach and by steamship from Boston. They came from the South Shore, they came from Plymouth, they came from as far as Pennsylvania to attend this abolitionist celebration. And we had some quite few notables here, including Frederick Douglass. He came to speak, and also William Lloyd Garrison, who was very strong abolitionist and published the Liberator newspaper of the time. There were also, John Quincy Adams couldn't attend, but he did send a speech, which was read for him. And so this is just a wonderful chronicle of what was probably the Woodstock of its time. So, and thousands, and there are a lot of wonderful little anecdotes about, there was food there and speakers all during the day. It was originally supposed to be on August the 1st, but it rained, and so it was moved to August the 2nd.
And where is that available?
Oh, thank you for asking.
A plant.
This book is available. I can sell you one. It's also available in the town clerk's office. It is also available at the Historical Society in the gift shop. And the book is $24.99. And very honestly, most people write their checks for $25. And it all goes into the Preservation Projects Fund, which we use, the Historical Commission uses to further all sorts of projects in town, preservation-oriented projects, and helps to maintain all of our monuments and markers. We have so many of them, including the Iron Horse, which is really not iron but bronze, and the Lincoln, the seated Lincoln in Fountain Square. We have the fountain at Queen Anne's Corner, and all sorts of monuments, some as early as, in markers, way markers, some as early as from the 17th century. So all the profits go for a good cause. So anyway, thank you for listening, and please consider this. This would be a wonderful gift for the holidays. Yes, it would be. So,
Is your next stop NBC?
and it's a great jumping off point for anybody who's, I mean, there's so many things mentioned here that if you want to follow through on a lot of them.
Was that abolitionist gathering one of maybe a series of them, or was that a unique?
This particular
gathering?
one was unique, but it also talks a bit about slavery in Massachusetts and this area as a whole. And it also alludes to other sites in Massachusetts where there were also gatherings very similar to this. But this was unique in that there were so many people. This particular, and we had Frederick Douglass, this particular painting is actually of Weymouth. It was an abolitionist picnic in Weymouth. And it's in the Chicago Institute of Art is the original of this, and it's considered one of the most, one of the best pieces of folk art in the country and ever painted. So, so this is great. All right, well, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
And I hope I see you at my
Do you have
door,
some
or
tonight?
pardon?
Do you have some tonight?
Why, yes, I do.
You take cash?
I take cash, and I take checks. So, anyway. All right, well, thank you very much.
Any other business for tonight?
No, I think, the only thing I want to say is that you probably noticed that missing from your agendas tonight was the Bank Avenue project, the 11 Bank Ave. And so they asked to be continued to January. So we will hear them on January the 10th. And the reason was that they wanted to go to the planning board and apply for a Form A so that they could reconfigure some of their lot lines and get that done before coming before us. Is that correct?
And we had talked about a site visit for that, right?
And we will also schedule a site visit.
Okay.
So that'll be happening, so just watch your email. That'll be happening somewhere between, I don't know, hopefully we won't have a great snow.
I know.
We'll just,
Because it's an awkward place to get to. I went and
Yes.
looked at it just before we had
Yes.
the last
You
meeting.
think they'll be in for the 10th, though?
they will definitely be here for the 10th.
Okay,
Yes.
so in terms of a site visit, we need to think about, it could come pretty quickly right after.
Yes,
the holidays.
exactly.
So like,
Yeah, there's not much, there aren't many weekends available. Probably that first weekend in January, I would imagine.
Okay.
So, something like that.
I think Wednesday is the first.
I think you're exactly right. Hold the phone.
Yeah, Christmas is Wednesday, right?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Do you want
First
to,
is
So then the
Tuesday.
first would,
So it would be January the 5th.
so do you want to proactively, like, reach out to them and
Yes,
we'll set
if-
that date and set it
Yeah,
aside?
let's set that date. Okay. So January the 5th, we will plan a site visit, and that'll be nice because I can tell the abutters as well, because they're very actively interested in when they'll be coming before us. So, and if you're interested in going to the planning board / zoning board meeting Tuesday night, this coming Tuesday night.
Station Street is first.
Station Street is first. So, you can hear
What time are they on?
7.
7 is Station Street? And nothing on Bank Ave at that meeting, correct?
Just the Form A that they filed, which is on the website, some lot line changes.
Just the Form A,
So if
yeah.
you look on the planning board website, you can look at what they've
Okay,
submitted.
but they're not due to present that.
No, it's just for the lot line change.
All right, good.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, so
Well, happy holidays to everyone.
I'd like to wrap up and conclude the Historic Districts Commission meeting for this evening. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,